Now we'll be welcoming from Philippines, Mitzi, Jonelle Tan, an international spokesperson and youth advocates for climate action Philippines. Mitzi is the convener and international spokesperson of the Youth Advocates for Climate Action Philippines, and also active on Fridays for Future International. So may we now have Mitzi share her climate journey.
Hi everyone, so I am Mitzi from Youth Advocates for Climate Action Philippines, and last night I got the news that Super Typhoon Goni, which has been called this year's most intense storm on the planet, is arriving in the Philippines. Today I was a few minutes late because I couldn't connect to the internet because of the typhoon happening outside. Today it was the internet connection that suffered. Tomorrow we could have no electricity. The next day trees could fall on our house. The day after, the raging floods could enter our house and we'd have to evacuate. This is the reality of the Philippines, facing stronger and more frequent typhoons every day. But the thing is, I'm still one of the more privileged ones. The ones that are really impacted by our typhoons and our extreme droughts are the urban poor, the workers, and our environmental defenders, the indigenous peoples, the workers, our farmers, our fisher folk. The defenders are our forests, lands, and seas. And to add to all this, we now have a law in the Philippines, which may sound familiar to a lot of the attendees here and even some of the speakers, because it's happening all over Southeast Asia. Our governments are calling activists terrorists, threatening our lives when all we do is call out in action and we call for justice. But we're not letting this stop us. We're not just sad stories and statistics, we have been fighting back. In Youth Advocates for Climate Action Philippines, since climate awareness isn't great here and since climate justice is a new concept to a lot of young people, majority of what we do is to talk to people, to have real conversations with the students. If we go to them, we go to their schools, we go to where they are, and we talk about the climate crisis and we talk about climate justice. And the most important thing is we also amplify the voices of our environmental defenders. We go to the defenders and we bring students to the defenders so that we can learn from them and we can really amplify their voices and stand united with them, because that is a key aspect of the solution. That's what we need for a green recovery. We need to amplify the voices of those on the front lines and stand united with them. Any program for a just and green recovery needs active consultation and participation of the different sectors of society. And this is what we've been trying to do. Although COVID-19 has put a stop to a lot of our efforts because we're not allowed to go outside and go to people. But before the pandemic, and now we're trying to do it online, but it is difficult. We've been consulting people. We've been asking scientists and experts, but also those who have been fighting for the environment for so long. We've been asking them what their thoughts of a green recovery are, and we've been compiling all this together, and we've been talking to policymakers. And that's what is so important for a green and just recovery, making sure that all sectors of society, especially the youth, are represented and are actively participating. And to be able to actively participate, they need climate education. And a lot of people in the Philippines, well, first, education isn't exactly easy to have here. Like, not everyone has access to quality education. And for a lot of the youth who do have education, our climate science, how climate change is taught to us, is very westernized and alienating and foreign, full of technical terms that alienate the Filipino youth. And this is something that with my conversations with people across Asia, it seems to be something that's happening everywhere. And that's what we really need to make sure to do. We have to make sure that we own our struggle. Us as Asians, us as wherever country we're from, we own our climate justice struggle. We own our climate justice movement. And it's not a Western movement that we copy paste here. But it's also important to make sure that we collaborate with everyone across the world, because really we are solving a global and systemic problem. So we need a global and systemic solution of the entire world, of the entire youth connecting with one another and really resisting as one planet, because this is such a huge problem that we're dealing with. It can be so overwhelming, but history has told us that people's movements, they work. They always win. It takes long. And that's the hard part with the climate crisis, because we have a deadline, but it's not impossible. And really, if anyone can do the impossible, it's us, it's the youth. And we're always going to be able to do it as long as we work with the masses, we work with the environmental defenders and the people in the front lines.